I finally decided to give Smogon battling a shot after strictly being a battle spot only player for years now. So I loaded up my signature team that helped me climb to the top of the battle spot ladder and queued up for my first game. And what is this? My team was rejected because my Drifblim's Minimize is banned by Evasion clause. Why are evasion boosting moves banned by Smogon rules? What is this shit? Alright, I have to Google this right now. Why are evasion moves banned on Smogon? Ah, a Reddit post. Hopefully I can understand what my Reddit brethren have to say about evasion. Let's see what this says. The problem with evasion moves is that there isn't a way to really counter it.
Lies! Are you fucking kidding me?
Smogon are such babies because they cannot handle evasion, but they allow duplicate items. You know how broken it is to hold 2 leftovers on one team? Like, what's wrong with Smogon? I could think of 25 different ways to counter evasion. And I don't know what, let's just get into this list because Smogon is getting me so mad right now. Number 1, Taunt. Taunt is a move that prevents the opponent from going for a non-attacking move. So as you can see here, we prevent this Starmie Minimize. However, look out for abilities like Aromatesis Aroma Veil that prevents Taunt from working, and abilities like Oblivious on Wailord will prevent your Taunt from working. Also look out for the item known as Mental Hurry, which cancels out the effects of Taunt for a turn and allows the opponent to go for their evasion move. So do note that Taunt is not a foolproof strategy to deal with evasion. Also, even if the opponent is taunted, the opponent can still go for the Z version of their evasion move. So if they're holding Normalium Z move, they can go for Z double team or Z minimize and completely nullify your taunt. So do note that taunt is not a reliable way of dealing with evasion. As you can see here, I did not see the Z minimize coming and I missed my knockoff, and now I'm going to get blasted away by a dazzling gleam. So taunt not the best way to deal with evasion. Number 2, Z moves. Z moves are guaranteed to hit no matter what. How are you supposed to dodge that? You can't. Number 3, phasing moves. If the opponent has more than one Pokemon remaining, moves like Roar and Whirlwind ignore evasion boosts and will force the opponent to switch out regardless of how many evasion boosts they do have. Do not strictly rely on phasing moves, however. Abilities like Suction Cups will prevent the opponent from being swapped out when a phasing move is used against them, and abilities like Magic Bounce can reflect your own Roar or Whirlwind back at you and force you to switch out as opposed to them. So keep that in mind if you're using phasing moves to counter evasion. I would include Dragon Tail and Circle Throw here, but those moves can miss and probably will miss versus evasion users. Number 4, Clear Smog and Haze. Clear Smog is a move that cannot miss no matter how many evasion boosts the opponent has and will remove any stat changes the opponent has under their belt. So Clear Smog is a very nice way of dealing with evasion. However, if the opponent is a steel type, they'll be immune to Clear Smog. So the move Haze is another way to get around evasion. It nullifies any stat boost on the field and is a very easy way to deal with evasion. Number 5. Encore is a move that cannot miss regardless of all the evasion boosts the opponent has, and locks the Pokemon it's used against into one attack for 3 turns, rendering them unable to switch up moves. If the opponent goes for an evasion boosting moves like Double Team, as long as you outspeed them, you can have them stuck in an Encore loop permanently, and use all the free turns you get from the Encore to set up yourself. If the opponent switches out, they will lose all their evasion boosts, so that sounds like a pretty nice counter to me. As you can see here, I use this Milotic as setup fodder with my Alolan Raichu. I encored it into Double Team, and now I'm able to set up a Nasty Plot, and then attack it with Shockwave, which is a move that cannot miss. But speaking of Shockwave, this leads me to my next one, number 6, Perfect Accurate moves. Moves like Shockwave, Magical Leaf, Aura Sphere, Smart Strike, and more are all perfect accurate moves, and you can utilize them to completely ignore evasion boost the opponent gets. I love to use Kartana because it's really easy to use with its attack set of over 500 balance. And I can just use Smart Strike, hit Pokemon regardless of minimized boost, and take them out pretty easily. There's also many other perfect accurate moves you can use, so look into them if you're looking to counter minimize or evasion as well. Number 7. Weather effects. There are certain weather effects like rain and hail that make certain moves perfect accuracy regardless of evasion boosts, like Hurricane and Thunder in the rain, and Blizzard in the hail. You can utilize these moves and hit the opponent regardless of how many evasion boosts they have. I really like using a Hurricane Pelipper to just snipe things with really strong stab hurricanes, but Blizzard, Abomasnow, Vanillux, and more are other options to use to counter evasion. Number 8. Poison type Toxic. In Generation 6, Game Freak made it so that Poison-type Pokemon cannot miss Toxic no matter how many evasion boosts the opponent has. It doesn't matter, you will always hit the Toxic if you are Poison-type. So this can be used to easily counter Minimize or Double Team. I personally use Salazzle because it has the Corrosion ability and allows it to poison types like Alolan Muck that spam Minimize. So if you want an easy way to beat Evasion, definitely consider Poison-type Toxic. Number 9. No Guard. No Guard is an ability that a few Pokemon have access to, and it makes it so all of your moves are guaranteed to hit, but it also makes all your opponent's moves guaranteed to hit you. So as you can see here, Minimize, Blissey just gets completely destroyed by my No Guard Dynamic Punch Machamp. Number 10. Minimize matchup. This counter is Minimize specific, but there's certain moves out there that completely ignore accuracy checks when Minimize is used, and they double in base power when Minimize is used. Moves like Heavy Slam, Body Slam, Heat Crash, and more double in base power when Minimize is used and can be easily used to defeat Minimize in particular. There's certain moves out there you should consider using, like Body Slam and Heavy Slam are pretty common ones, but there's much more out there. As you can see here, this Minimize Clefable gets destroyed by my Heavy Slam Wailord. Number 11. Moves that increase accuracy. Moves like Hone Claws and Quail can be utilized to increase your offenses on top of increasing your accuracy, allowing you to keep up with evasion users. I personally enjoy using Hone Claws Garchomp because I can Hone Claws and then I have Dragon Rush, taking our last entry and using Dragon Rush to double damage against Minimize users, so if they do outmaneuver you with evasion boost, you can punish them with the Dragon Rush. So I recommend using Hone Claws Garchomp if you want an easy way to deal with both Double Team and Minimize. Number 12. Moves that lower evasion. Believe it or not, guys, there are moves out there that completely can counteract moves like Double Team and Minimize. Moves like Defog and Sweet Scent can be used to counter out Double Team and Minimize respectively. I personally enjoy using Sweet Scent Jinx. As you can see here, the Swoobat goes for Double Team, but I'm able to go for Sweet Scent and completely cancel out the opponent's Double Team. And even though he goes for Double Team again, I will be able to connect my Blizzard against him and knock out the Swoobat. Number 13. Giving the opponent a choice item, whether it be Choice Band, Choice Scarf, or Choice Back. So you can trick or switcheroo those items onto the opponent using Minimize or Double Team, locking them into that move permanently. Think of it as a permanent Encore, which will force them to switch out to make them remove the stat boost or stay in, which you can utilize that as setup fodder and completely nullify their evasion efforts. So overall, I think tricking them a choice item is a really nice way to counter evasion. Number 14. Lock On and Mind Reader. Lock On and Mind Reader are moves that guarantee your next move will connect, no matter how many evasion boosts the opponent has. So as you can see here, the Porygon 2 is going to keep clicking Double Team, and unless the opponent switches out, my next move is guaranteed to land. So I can actually go for 100% accurate Sheer Cold because I was able to Mind Reader on the Porygon 2, and if your opponent switches out, they lose the evasion boost, so either way, it's a nice counter to evasion. Number 15. Keen Eye. Keen Eye is an ability that seems rather useless at first glance. You see it in game and you're like, this doesn't do anything, but it can be used to combat evasion pretty effectively. Now what Keen Eye does is that it completely nullifies any evasion boost the opponent has. So essentially, if you have an 100% accurate move and they're at +6 evasion, your move will still have 100% accuracy to hit. However, it doesn't function like No Guard, so if your move has 80% accuracy, it will still have an 80% chance to hit like normal, but it does nullify any evasion boost the opponent has, and it also makes it so your accuracy cannot be lowered, so it's a pretty effective combating evasion. As you can see here, my opponent's Porygon 2 is setting up Double Teams. Even though it saw I had Keen Eye, it's still setting up Double Teams, and it's thinking that it's setting up on me, when in all reality my Chatot is setting up on the Porygon 2. And as you can see here, my Boom Burst is guaranteed to connect, and at +4 special attack, that will knock out even the bulkiest Porygon 2. So that is another way to combat evasion pretty effectively.
Number 16. Unaware.
Kinda like Keen Eye, Unaware is an ability that completely ignores any evasion boost the opponent has, but it also works for all other stats. So if your opponent's at +6 special attack, you'll take the attack like they're at neutral. Same thing with -6 special attack, so it's kind of like a double-edged sword in how that works. But as you can see here, my Unaware Zubat is able to psych up the Chandeler's minimized boosts, and then proceed to use those boosts against him with stored power, which will ignore the evasion boost thanks to Unaware, and proceed to knock out the Chandelure.
Number 17.
Topsy-Turvy. Topsy-Turvy is a move exclusive to Malamar and Inkay, and it is a move that cannot miss and will invert any stat changes the opponent has. So say the opponent has +6 evasion, you could turn that +6 evasion into -6 evasion, then proceed to hit every attack you could possibly think of against that target. So that makes Topsy-Turvy one of the best ways of combating evasion, turning their stats against them. Very cool.
Number 18. Heart Swap.
Heart Swap is a move exclusive to Manaphy and Magearna, and it is a move that swaps any stat changes you have with the opponent. So if the opponent's at +6 evasion, you can essentially take that evasion for yourself and leave the opponent with none, making it a very effective method when it comes to combating evasion. Number 19. Punishment. Punishment is a move that deals more damage based on how many stat changes the opponent has. However, Punishment can miss, so what I like to do is give Punishment to a Keen Eye Pokemon like Skuntank, and it guarantees that your move will hit them even at +6 evasion, and it will nuke them really hard because it's stab and absurdly powerful, making Keen Eye Punishment Skuntank a very effective method of dealing with evasion. Number 20. Snatch. Snatch is a move that many people forget about, but it is a move that steals any sort of stat boosting moves or substitute or tailwind, and you can make them your own moves for that turn. So it can be used against Minimize and Double Team. You could snatch both of those and make those evasion boosts your own, essentially denying the opponent of those stat boosts, but also taking advantage of those stat boosts yourself, making Snatch a very nice cock block to evasion users in general.
Number 21. Imprison. Imprison is a move that makes it so the opponent cannot go for moves that are also in your move pool. So as you can see here, my Chandelure has the Imprison, which will make it so the Quillfish cannot go for the Minimize. And I also have Double Team on this set as well, and Clear Smog, just on the off chance the opponent gets too many evasion boosts. My Imprison, Clear Smog, Minimize, Double Team Chandelure will make it so Minimize users cannot do anything, and they will struggle to use evasion. As you can see here, this Quillfish is so confused on what to do, it's going to start to struggle to death, and that shows that Imprison is a very effective method when it comes to combating evasion. As you can see here, I have Minimize, and I also have Double Team on my moveset, making it so I can cover both bases for evasion boosting moves. Number 22. Trump Card. Trump Card is a move that actually cannot miss no matter what, and it works really well because as the opponent sets up evasion boosts, your Trump Card gets slowly stronger and stronger. Now what I like to use Trump Card on is Sylveon, because it does get stabbed from Trump Card, and it just gets stronger and stronger because of Pixelate, and the lower PP you have, the stronger the move gets, and it cannot miss. So the more evasion boost the opponent chooses to set up, the better it is for you utilizing Trump Card. As you can see here, my Metronome Trump Card Pixelate Sylveon is slowly doing more damage to this Credilli, who is trying to set up on me, but the Credilli is realizing that it is impossible to set up on the Sylveon set because it's so effective in combating evasion. And I'm just going to keep clicking Trump Card here. It gets stronger and stronger the more I use it, and as you can see here, it's doing over half now, and I have one more power point left with Metronome equipped, which means it does 2 times damage because it's the 5th Trump Card being used, and this would easily knock out many special walls besides Mimi Blissey, which makes Trump Card a very effective method at combating evasion. Number 23. Telekinesis. Telekinesis is a move that many Pokemon get due to move tutors, and it is a move that guarantees your next moves will connect against the target and they cannot miss unless they are OHKO moves. So keep that in mind if you're using Telekinesis. It does not work like Lock On and Mind Neuter in that regard, but it guarantees your next move will connect against them or your next consecutive moves because it works for a few turns. As you can see here, this Mandibuzz is trying to set up double teams against my Mismagius, but I'm able to Telekinesis it and then blast it away with a few Thunders, and that makes Telekinesis a very effective method when it comes to combating evasion. Number 24. Perish Song. Perish Song is a move that whichever Pokemon hears it, unless they have soundproof, they will faint within 3 turns unless they switch out. So if the opponent sets up a bajillion evasion boosts, if you use Perish Song against them, they're either going to be forced to switch out or they die, making it so they either switch out removing their evasion boosts or they just faint after 3 turns, and Perish Song cannot miss, making Perish Song a rather effective method when it comes to combating evasion. Number 25. Yawn. Yawn is a move, it's a sleep-inducing move that cannot miss no matter how many evasion boosts the opponent has. So if you use Yawn against the opponent, they're either going to be forced to swap out removing their evasion boosts or go to sleep, making it so you can use those sleep turns to set up yourself. I personally enjoy using my Yawn Ursaring because I have Yawn with the Hone Claws on top of Feint Attack, which cannot miss. Even if the opponent has evasion boosts, my Ursaring has Feint Attack for double team users and ghost types, and Body Slam for minimize users. So I have Hone Claws, Yawn, Body Slam, and Feint Attack, making Ursaring with Yawn a nice effective method in dealing with evasion. And if all else fails, guys, you ever heard the saying, if you can't beat them, join them? You can always use evasion yourself as well and give the opponent a taste of their own medicine and just have evasion wars that last several turns, which is very fun. But as you can see here, my Bibarel is using this Blissey as setup fodder, and even though the Blissey has a bajillion evasion boosts, eventually my Swords Dance double team Bibarel will connect an attack versus this Blissey, and thankfully my Skull Bash with the Power Herb comes through, and we're able to easily defeat evasion with our own evasion.